President Zelenskyy has brilliantly outmaneuvered both Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Let me explain to you what went down. So on the evening of May 11th, Putin gave this national address to Russia, where he said that he was willing to have ceasefire negotiations with Zelenskyy in Turkey. Of course, Putin was not serious about having these ceasefire negotiations. He just wanted to manipulate Donald Trump into believing he wanted ceasefire negotiations, and he also wanted to try to delay sanctions from the European Union that were about to be imposed. How do we know that Putin is not serious about having ceasefire negotiations other than the most obvious that he just doesn't? Well, because Zelenskyy has already agreed to an unconditional ceasefire, while Putin continues to attack Ukraine and kill innocent Ukrainians with ballistic missiles, drones, and other weapons on a daily basis. So as I said, Putin wanted to manipulate Donald Trump into believing that Putin wanted to have these negotiations so Donald Trump can make social media posts attacking Ukraine, and he wanted to delay a sanctions package from Europe. And Putin was able to achieve both of those things. But let me then explain to you how Zelenskyy then counterattacked. So what Zelenskyy did, and this is where it's brilliant, is he said, I'm willing, he said it publicly. He gave a speech. I want to show you some of that speech. Zelenskyy says, I will meet with you in any city in Turkey. And by the way, why doesn't Donald Trump join us? Donald Trump, you're in the Middle East anyway. You're close enough. Come to Turkey. I will be there on Thursday, May 15th, which is the date that Putin suggested. And let's all have peace negotiations because we, Ukraine, are open to an unconditional ceasefire and Putin isn't. I'm going to call Putin's bluff publicly. And it was a brilliant execution of calling Putin's bluff and showing what's up. Because after Zelenskyy said, I'm willing to meet with Putin directly, face to face, person to person, Donald Trump would say, man to man. Okay, let's have this meeting. What did Putin do? Putin said, oh, this is theater. This is just Ukrainian propaganda. Why would we ever hold that meeting? I don't know, Putin, because you said you wanted to hold that meeting. And this is the kind of sociopathic mindset of a Putin and a Donald Trump, right? What they'll say is, hey, we're willing to have the meeting. And Zelensky's like, bet, okay, let's have the meeting. And then Putin's like, you want to have this meeting? What are you even talking about? That's propaganda. What do you mean? You were the one who offered the meeting in the first place. Let's methodically go through this piece by piece with the receipts right here, right? So Putin gives that speech. We called it out right away here on the MeidasTouch Network and saying Putin ain't going to do that. As soon as Putin gave that speech, remember the report I did? I said, watch, Donald Trump's going to make a post about this very, very soon. What did Donald Trump do? He made a post about it. Here's what Donald Trump posted. He wrote on May 11th, 2025, President Putin of Russia doesn't want to have a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine, but rather wants to meet on Thursday in Turkey to negotiate a possible end to this bloodbath. Ukraine should agree to this immediately. At least they will be able to determine whether or not a deal is possible. And if it is not, European leaders and the U.S. will know where everything stands and can proceed accordingly. I'm starting to doubt that Ukraine will make a deal with Putin, who's too busy celebrating the victory of World War II, which cannot have been won, not even close, without the United States of America. Have the meeting now. So Zelenskyy said, sure. I mean, by the way, why is Donald Trump attacking Zelenskyy right there? Zelenskyy has agreed to an unconditional ceasefire, which Putin refuses to agree to. Now, the news we were getting out of Russia was simple, was that the ceasefire that was being proposed by Russia, as they had said before, would be a ceasefire in name only. The Ukrainian troops were saying that fighting never paused at all regarding any of the claims of past ceasefires, and Russia continues to attack. We don't have to just take the word of Ukrainian troops. I mean, we see the bombs every single day. So with that as background, let's take a look at what happened next from Kyiv Insider. After Zelenskyy calls Putin's bluff, the Russian dictator refuses to meet. So let me show you here what Zelenskyy posted of himself. This is an incredible video First, let me show you here where Zelenskyy says, you name the city, Putin, I'll be there. Let's play this clip.
We discussed with President Erdogan that I will have a meeting with him in the capital of Turkey. That's Ankara. It will be on Thursday, the 15th. We are waiting for a meeting with Putin in Turkey. So that Russia does not manipulate cities and does not say that Putin is not ready to fly to Ankara, but ready to fly only to Istanbul. I want to immediately say that if Putin flies to Istanbul and not to the capital, I have sent a signal to President Erdogan, and the Turkish side is ready that President Erdogan and I will fly to Istanbul. In any case, we will do everything to ensure this meeting takes place. We suggested to President Trump to join. I don't know the decision of the President of the United States of America, but in any case, if he confirmed his participation, I think it would give an additional push for Putin to come.
Now here's another video of Zelenskyy, or another clip from this interview. Let's play it.
What will I do if we don't have a meeting?
If it doesn't happen, yes.
Look, I believe this means that there will be no result in one format or another, any meetings, etc. Everything has gone quite deep into the issue of the ceasefire. Ukraine, all signals, all proposals, any moments that were proposed by various parties, countries, the United States, European countries, and so on. What remains behind the scenes? Ukraine has demonstrated absolute constructiveness, demonstrated that it is clear, understandable, and wants to end the war.
Right? He's saying, Trump, let's go. I'm ready. Here's another clip from that. Let's play it.
All promises, sober and clear promises of the United States of America, Europe, leaders of other countries must be fulfilled. Otherwise, you will not force or compel Russia to take steps to one or another format of de-escalation. Well, let's do this. Well, I am ready for the meeting. I met with this person in 2019 in December. I completely understand what you're talking about. The truth is on our side, but I believe that we need to make the first step for the sake of the people. And the whole world already supports this, primarily for Ukrainians, but for any nation. Everyone wants the war to end. We want to agree on the beginning of the end of the war. I can expect at least a strong package of sanctions from the United States of America against Russia. And these are already sanctions. Look, not for aggression, not for occupation, and so on. So there are already a million compromises. Sanctions for not even wanting a ceasefire. This must be the strongest sanctions package, because it's about the will to end the war or not. It is a clear signal that they do not want to and are not planning to end the war. Or on the contrary, they will demonstrate that they are not only with nuclear. Weapons are serious, but they are capable of something even without it.
Here's one more clip from Zelenskyy right here that I want to show you. Let's play it.
Also signals from China and other states that it would be fair to move toward a complete ceasefire, and that during these dates, from the 8th to the 10th, there should be safety in the region where many leaders, including China, will be present. I would like everyone to perceive Ukraine's position as it is. It is not only clear and truthful. If there were 10 drone strikes tonight, 10, not 100, not 200, that's in the year, there were 10 drone strikes. So I want to say there were 10. This is a decrease. This does not mean there is a ceasefire, but it might mean something. I don't know what. It's hard for me to say. And so maybe the signals from our leaders, the Europeans,
maybe the signals from the United States of America.
I want to tell you about our next sponsor, StopBox. I am a responsible gun owner, and I use StopBox to make sure that my firearm is secure. I have a 5-month-old baby girl. Seems that she's getting older each day. I have a number of nieces and nephews in my house, and it is critical that I have the peace of mind that my firearm is safe, secure, out of their reach, and that could never be accessed while making sure that I can protect my family. And one of the things that I like about StopBox Pro is it is 100% mechanical, so you never have to worry about it not working when you need it the most. And I was surprised about how durable and well made it is. And also it not relying on a battery also gives me more peace of mind. All StopBox products are proudly made in the USA in their own facility. Not only does this ensure the high quality craftsmanship of every product sent out, but it does also create meaningful jobs here. And at the MeidasTouch Network, all of our products, all of our merch are made in America as well. So it's great to be supportive of an American business like StopBox. So for a limited time only, our listeners are going to get a crazy deal here. Not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use the code Meidas10 at stopboxusa.com, they're also going to give you a buy one, get one free for their StopBox Pro. So that's 10% off and a free StopBox Pro when you use the code Meidas10. Just spell it right. MEIDAS10, Meidas10. So you go to stopboxusa.com, use that code Meidas10. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with StopBox. Now, contrast that to what Vladimir Putin has been doing. As Jay in Kyiv explains, UK, US, EU, and Germany all postponed sanctions plans because Putin offered to meet in Istanbul. Now the cowardly little piglet says he's going to a restaurant instead, that he's too busy and that he's just going to maybe go somewhere else on Thursday, May 15th. Here, play this clip.
Vladimir Vladimirovich also taking the opportunity, my mom and I invite you to Teremok. She is the author of all Teremok's recipes. If there is a chance, we would be very happy.
Thank you. Without any jokes or irony, I want to thank you. And with pleasure, really. When there is an opportunity, which I hope will arise, I will definitely come to you. And then, who knows, maybe Pavel Borisovich will not be stingy. That's what I'll tell you.
We already have a tandem.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Now, what I think is brilliant about what Zelenskyy did as well is said, okay, Putin, you said you want to meet. You show up. Don't send up your worthless minions. You meet me face to face. Let's look at each other eye to eye. Let's stare each other down. You heard him in the clips. And Donald, you get your ass over here. You want to act tough like you act tough in the Oval Office? You guys get your ass in Turkey. And let's go. Let's have conversations. Zelenskyy says, I will meet directly with Putin in Turkey. I'm not going to meet with other members of the delegation. Let's meet. And Donald, you want to be a tough guy? You come and meet also. We will all meet together. Now, I showed you Putin's reaction. Here's Donald Trump's statement today in Saudi Arabia, where he doesn't even acknowledge what Zelenskyy was saying. Here, play this clip.
I've also been working relentlessly to end the terrible bloodshed between Russia and Ukraine. And very importantly, talks are being held in Turkey later this week, probably on Thursday. And
whenever I show these clips of Zelenskyy, I want to always remind us, what did Donald Trump promise, though, when he was running for office? Right here. I could show you 1,000 clips like this, but I'll just show you one where Donald Trump says on day one, he will bring peace to Ukraine. It'll be so easy. Let's play the clip.
Could end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
yes, I
How would you do that?
I know Zelenskyy very well.
I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. I will get the war ended. I'll stop all of those lives from being wasted and lost. And there'll be no more bombing of Ukraine. There'll be no more bombing of Russia. And everybody will be happy.
It can be negotiated, I think, within 24 hours. it really has to be done from the office of the president.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe, and let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.